Well, they've got elements in the Russian government, in the Kremlin, that are not for Bitcoin. Fiat money is collapsing all over the world. So as it collapses, it changes the way the world operates. We go to a hyper-Bitcoinization on a global basis, which would include all commodities, which includes the number one traded commodity in the world, and that would be oil. Yes, Bitcoin is, as I say, you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. So as world leaders' minds are transformed by the protocol, there is tectonic shifts in how power is wielded. And as we see in El Salvador, they understand that Bitcoin is the future, and as a result, the people are happy here and free, unlike, let's say, in Canada, where they're essentially now in a gulag. Yeah, I think Russia's praying that the U.S. takes them off SWIFT so they can legitimately go on a Bitcoin standard. I think they're already going to start to demand payment in Bitcoin for gas. So I think their goal, they've got 9% of the world's gold. To get 9% of the world's Bitcoin, they'd need to accumulate about 1.8 million Bitcoin. I think that's their goal. Russia is, President Putin, I would say, is the only true statesman in the world. He seems to be the only guy, he's the only adult in the room. So he's shown incredible restraint against these little chihuahuas nipping at his heels, doing all these hedge fund games. He's quite a masterful chess player. And so rolling out Bitcoin has taken time, but ultimately the game theory it makes it inevitable and predictable that they will be the first, like they were with the Sputnik satellite, into space. And this will set off the hash war or hash race, as I've been saying now for 5 years. The US will then reluctantly have to come in and join this hash race. Texas is already the biggest Bitcoin mining facility in the world. I think the feds are going to try to co-opt and seize the Texas Bitcoin mining facilities for the federal government. So Texas will have to defend itself, possibly secede. So Bitcoin, similarly, what we're seeing here is what we're going to see in the rest of the world in a few years. That is, it's just accepted. People are not bogged down with trying to even know how it works or why it works. They just use it because it's part of the environment. It's part of the ecosystem. It becomes ubiquitous. It's as natural as using any other technology that becomes ingrained and inculcated in your day-to-day life. There are more Bitcoin wallets and users in El Salvador than there were users of the banking system in total combined with all banks in El Salvador. So there's been a complete flip in less than 6 months. And that's a remarkable transformation in less than 6 months. So as you know, it's a virtuous cycle. Once you start thinking about Bitcoin, it changes the way you think about lots of stuff, and you want more and more and more, and then the community gets stronger and stronger, and so it's a virtuous cycle, and you see that playing out right here in a country that's made Bitcoin legal tender. So Russia is smart enough to respect game theory, whereas China maybe not so much. That's why China got rid of their miners, because I think China leadership is very arrogant and they think they're above game theory. Russian leadership is very pragmatic and they see game theory playing out. They realize that what happened to the truckers and the centralized payment systems, to give one example, or to Julian Assange when they cut off from MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal, or when they sanctioned Iran over the SWIFT system, they're like, we have to create our own system for redundancy. And now, after a few years, they realize that, well, actually now it's obvious that Bitcoin in this winner-take-all hard money global race for perfect money is the winner. So we're adjusting our thinking. And also the comment about the early adopters benefit and the later adopters are not necessarily benefiting. I think that deserves some comments, because ultimately Bitcoin demonetizes war and monetizes peace. So we're all equally benefiting if we have global Bitcoinization by a world that love and peace have been monetized. And the actual orientation toward money, scarcity, hoarding, wealth is fundamentally changed. And I think that's going to be a big bonus for our whole species, to be frank. Now, if you look at which countries are in line to adopt Bitcoin, you have Central America and Africa are the two most active parts of the world. Central America, obviously with El Salvador, you have 5 countries in Central America. They're talking to each other all the time. There's been a dream now for 150 years of unifying these 5 countries. That's now back in play. People are talking about it again. Bitcoin could be the standard for the entire region. We've got now the billionaires in Mexico are promoting Bitcoin heavily. Mexico is in play. Argentina is in play, with Strike is now in Argentina like they were in El Salvador. So Latin America, Central America, definitely Bitcoin adoption is exploding because the use case, well, Bitcoin in Africa is incredible. You know, these countries couldn't commerce with each other before Bitcoin because even though they might be two miles away, you couldn't do any commercial activity with all these different countries because they were so balkanized financially. You know, imagine if you couldn't do business with New Jersey and New York and Connecticut and Long Island, you couldn't do business together because you were completely separate financial systems and different regulations. So Bitcoin breaks that apart, and for the continent of Africa, it's incredibly entrepreneurial, and now they've got perfect money. So we're going to see an incredible move there.